When I opened the door last night, I swear, I saw my sister standing there. But she's been missing for 10 years. She didn't age a day. Her clothes were the same ones she vanished in. Her smile, faint, familiar, but wrong. And now, she's in the room next to mine, humming softly in the darkness. I should feel overjoyed, right? I should be calling everyone, crying tears of happiness. But all I can think is, how did she come back? Where has she been for a decade? And why? Why does she keep glancing at the clock? Always at exactly 3:17, the same time that keeps appearing everywhere since she returned. And why do I feel like something followed her home? Let me take you back 10 years. I need you to understand what we lost that day. I was 16 when Emily disappeared. She was only 12, my baby sister, the one I was supposed to protect. One summer afternoon, we were in the backyard. The sun was beating down, cicadas buzzing in the trees. Emily was chasing butterflies near the old oak tree, laughing in that carefree way kids do. I turned for just a second to grab my phone, to yell for Mom to bring us some lemonade. And when I turned back, Emily was gone. Not just gone, vanished. Like she'd been erased from existence. No clues, no footprints in the soft dirt, no signs of struggle, no broken branches where someone might have taken her. Just silence. The kind of silence that makes your ears ring and your heart stop. The search began immediately. Police, neighbors, volunteers with flashlights combing through the woods behind our house until dawn. They found nothing. Not a single thread from her red dress, not one strand of her blonde hair. Nothing. It tore our family apart like a slow poison. My parents searched obsessively, posted flyers on every telephone pole in 3 counties, hired private investigators who promised answers but delivered only empty theories and mounting bills. Mom stopped sleeping. Dad stopped talking. Years crawled by. Their hope withered. Their marriage crumbled. They're both gone now, not dead, but broken. Dad moved across the country. Mom, well, she couldn't bear living in a world where children just disappear. And me? I stayed. In the same house, in the same town, in the same bedroom, where I used to hear Emily giggling through the thin walls. Because some part of me, the guilty, desperate part, refused to let go. Some part of me knew that if I left, if I gave up, she'd never find her way home. Emily's room stayed untouched all these years. Her stuffed animals arranged exactly as she left them. Her diary still open to the last page she wrote, the ink faded but still readable. Sometimes, on the really dark nights, I'd sit outside her door, pressing my ear to the wood, wondering if I'd hear her voice. I never did, until last night. I was sitting in the living room, late as usual. I don't sleep well anymore. Scrolling through old family photos on my phone, and I noticed something I'd never seen before. A tiny scratch on the corner of one picture. Our family photo from the week before she vanished. All four of us smiling. Emily's grin bright as sunshine. But there, in the bottom right corner, someone had carved something into the photo itself. A faint mark. 317, weird. My hands started shaking as I stared at it. How had I never noticed this before? Had it always been there? I shook it off. Probably just my mind playing tricks. That's when I heard the knock. 3 soft taps. Pause. 3 more. Then one final, deliberate knock. My blood turned to ice, because that was Emily's knock. The secret code we'd made up when we were kids. The one nobody else knew. I sat frozen on the couch, staring at the front door. The knocking came again. 331. Emily's rhythm. Emily's secret. My legs felt like water as I stood up. Each step toward the door echoed in the silence. My hand trembled as I reached for the deadbolt. What if it wasn't her? What if it was someone who knew about our code? What if I opened the door? And there she was, Emily. Exactly as she was 10 years ago, wearing her favorite red dress, the one with tiny flowers that she'd begged Mom to buy. Her hair in that messy braid I always teased her about, the one that never stayed tight. Her face. God, her face was exactly the same, 12 years old, untouched by time. But I had aged. I had grown. I had lived 10 years without her, and she looked exactly the same. I stared, unable to speak, unable to breathe, unable to process what I was seeing. She tilted her head, that familiar gesture that used to make me smile, and her lips curved into something that might have been a smile.
Can I come inside?
She asked, her voice soft and sweet.
It's cold out here.
But it wasn't cold. It was July, 90 degrees. And I noticed she wasn't sweating, wasn't breathing hard. Was she breathing at all? Her voice. It was her voice, but something was wrong with it. Just a little too slow. Just a little too flat. I let her in. Of course I did. What was I supposed to do? Slam the door on my missing sister? Ask for ID? She walked through the house like she'd never left, but also like she was seeing it for the first time. She ran her hand across the hallway walls, tracing patterns only she could see. Paused at family photos, studying them with an expression I couldn't read. Stopped at her old room, standing in the doorway for a long moment. Her small hand traced along the doorframe, fingertips lingering on wood that had been painted over twice since she vanished.
I missed this place,
she whispered. I tried to talk, tried to ask the 1,000 questions burning in my throat. Where have you been? What happened to you? How are you here? Why haven't you aged? But every time I opened my mouth, she'd look at me with those wide, innocent eyes that seemed too deep, too dark, too knowing, and the words would die in my throat. She'd just smile, tilt her head, always humming. A melody I didn't recognize, something that made my teeth ache and my skin crawl. That's when I saw it. We were standing in the kitchen, and she was looking out the window at the backyard, at the exact spot where she disappeared. The light hit her neck at just the right angle, and I saw something that made my heart stop. A mark, branded into her pale skin. The same numbers from the photograph, etched into my sister's neck like a cattle brand, like a signature, like ownership. I pulled back, gasping. She turned to look at me, and for just a moment, just a split second, her face wasn't quite right. Her features seemed to shift, to blur, like I was looking at her through water. Then she smiled that sweet, familiar smile.
Are you okay? You look pale.
But I noticed she didn't ask about the mark. She knew I'd seen it. And she didn't care. That night, I couldn't sleep. How could I? My sister, who had been missing for 10 years, was sleeping in the room next to mine. The same room where I used to hear her talking to her stuffed animals. But now, different sounds were coming from Emily's room. Soft sounds that made my skin crawl. Humming. But not any song I'd ever heard. Whispering. But I couldn't make out words. The sound of footsteps pacing back and forth. And something else. Something that sounded like scratching. Like fingernails on wood. Or claws. I told myself she was just adjusting. That 10 years of wherever she'd been would make anyone act strange. That I was imagining things because I was exhausted, overwhelmed, desperate to believe she was really home. But at 3:17 a.m., I couldn't take it anymore. I crept down the hall, my feet silent on the hardwood floor. Stopped outside her door, pressed my ear to the wood. She was sitting on the bed, facing the window, humming that same haunting melody, staring at the glass like she was waiting for something. But her reflection, God, her reflection in the window wasn't matching her movements, like there were two different entities sharing the same space. My skin prickled with goosebumps. My stomach dropped to my feet. This wasn't possible. This wasn't real. This wasn't my sister. Suddenly, my phone buzzed in my pocket. The sound was explosively loud in the midnight silence. I jumped, nearly crying out, fumbled for the phone with shaking hands. Unknown number. 3:17 a.m. A single text message. Don't let her in. The blood drained from my face. My hands started shaking so hard I could barely hold the phone. Don't let her in? But she was already in. She was in my house, in Emily's room. She'd been here for hours. Slowly. Terrified of what I'd see, I looked up from the phone. Emily was standing right in front of me, In the hallway, outside her room, smiling. How had she gotten out of her room without me hearing the door open? How long had she been standing there? How long had she been watching me? Her eyes were too wide, too bright in the darkness, too deep, like looking into empty wells. She leaned in close. So close, I could smell something strange on her breath. Something like earth. Like decay. She whispered. Her voice barely audible, but somehow echoing in my skull.
You did not save me.
I ran, sprinted to my room, slammed the door, turned every lock. My heart was beating so fast I thought it might explode. My hands were shaking as I grabbed my phone, started typing frantic messages to anyone who might believe me. But who would? Who would believe that my sister came back after 10 years, unchanged, unmarked by time? Who would believe that something else came back wearing her face? I've been sitting in my room for hours now, back pressed against the door, listening, waiting. The house is silent now, too silent, but just a few minutes ago, I heard her voice again, calling my name, from downstairs, from the kitchen, from Emily's room, and I swear, every time I look at the clock, it's 3:17, over and over. Like time itself is broken. Like something is keeping us trapped in this moment. This cursed, impossible moment. The scratching sounds are back, louder now. Coming from inside the walls. What exactly did I let into my home? Was it really my sister? Or something that's been wearing her face for 10 years? Something that's been waiting for me to open the door. Waiting for the perfect moment. Waiting for 3:17. The sun should be coming up soon, but outside my window, it's still dark. Still 3:17, and I can hear her humming again. That same melody, getting closer. What do you think I brought into my home, and what does it want with me? Tell me what you think happened to Emily 10 years ago. Tell me what's in my house right now. Because I have a feeling the real horror is just beginning.